The Velvet Mask. The crystalline spires of the Celestial Congress Building pierced the purple sky of Nexus Prime, reaching toward the three suns that orbited this artificial world. Ambassador Maya Zhang adjusted her diplomatic sash, its subtle patterns hiding advanced biometric sensors, as she entered the grand chamber where 1,000 alien species gathered to discuss the fate of civilizations. The chamber buzzed with an energy that most species interpreted as excitement. Only the Vexori, with their heightened bioelectric sensitivity, detected the undercurrent of predatory calculation emanating from the human delegation. They had long suspected something was different about these newcomers to the galactic stage. Maya's footsteps were deliberate as she approached her designated platform. Around her, beings of every conceivable form engaged in what they believed was high diplomacy. Gaseous entities floated in containment spheres, insectoid diplomats clicked their mandibles in measured patterns, and energy beings pulsed with colors that translated to complex political discourse. The Korathi delegation, tall beings with translucent skin revealing intricate networks of neural pathways, rose to address the Congress. Their lead speaker, First Advocate Theris, directed his attention to the human section. We formally protest the continued expansion of human colonies into the Orient frontier, he declared, his voice synthesized to accommodate species without auditory receptors. In merely 50 standard cycles, humanity has established more colonies than the Korathi achieved in 500. Maya's expression remained perfectly neutral, but something shifted imperceptibly in her posture. The predator in her recognized a challenge, even if the prey didn't understand the game they were playing. She raised her hand in the traditional gesture of peaceful response, though to the trained observer, the motion carried the fluid economy of a martial artist. Distinguished colleagues, Maya began, her voice carrying that peculiar human quality of warmth layered over steel. The Human Federation values peace above all else. Our expansion is driven by curiosity and the desire to contribute to galactic prosperity, not territorial ambition. The Korathi delegation shifted uncomfortably. What they didn't know was that every human colony was strategically positioned, every trade route carefully calculated, every diplomatic gesture a move in a game whose rules only humans fully understood. As Maya spoke, her aide, Lieutenant Chen, discreetly monitored the neural feedback from every species present. Humans had spent decades perfecting technology that could read alien emotions and intentions without detection. The data streamed to a network of quantum processors that analyzed, predicted, and planned responses faster than any organic brain could manage. The session progressed with typical diplomatic exchanges until the Dravix Empire representative brought up a point that changed everything. "We have noticed," the reptilian diplomat hissed, "that human vessels consistently arrive at newly discovered systems mere days after our own survey ships. This pattern suggests either impossible coincidence or advanced intelligence gathering." Maya's smile was genuine this time. The Dravix were closer to the truth than they realized, but still far from understanding the full scope of human capability. "The galaxy is vast," Ambassador Cathax, "yet patterns emerge. Surely we can attribute such things to the natural flow of exploratory missions." What the aliens didn't know was that humanity had seeded the galaxy with microscopic observation drones years ago. Every diplomatic meeting, every military movement, every economic transaction was observed, recorded, and analyzed. The humans weren't just participating in galactic civilization. They were mapping its every vulnerability. During the recess, Maya retreated to the human section of the station. In a secured room, she met with her true staff, not diplomats, but military strategists, Shinop psychologists, and economic warfare specialists. The holographic display showed the intricate web of alliances, trade routes, and military deployments throughout known space. "The Korathi are becoming suspicious," Colonel Martinez reported. "Their intelligence services have detected anomalies in our expansion patterns." Maya nodded. "They see the what, but not the why. Maintain current protocols. Let them feel clever for noticing the obvious while missing the subtle." The afternoon session brought an unexpected development. A minor species, the Ulani, presented evidence of human ships conducting geological surveys in their territory. The scans showed these vessels emitting unusual energy signatures inconsistent with standard survey equipment. Maya's response was masterful in its misdirection. She expressed concern, promised a full investigation, and offered the Ulani advanced agricultural technology as a gesture of goodwill. The assembly applauded the human commitment to transparency and cooperation. None noticed that the offered technology would make the Ulani dependent on human expertise within a decade. As the day progressed, the true nature of human diplomacy began to reveal itself to those observant enough to see. Every concession came with hidden strings. Every gift carried future obligations. Every alliance shifted the balance of power inexorably toward humanity. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A Vexori data analyst, working on an unrelated project, discovered a pattern in human navigation data shared during a cooperative mapping initiative. The routes weren't random or exploratory. They formed a precise network that could instantly convert from trade routes to military deployment corridors. This information reached the Korathi delegation, just as Maya was concluding a speech about peaceful coexistence. Varys stood abruptly, his neural patterns flashing in agitation. "Ambassador Zhang," he called out, violating protocol, "would you care to explain why your civilian trade routes are optimized for fleet deployment?" The chamber fell silent. Maya's pause was calculated to the microsecond. When she spoke, her voice carried a new quality, not the warm diplomat, but something ancient and dangerous that triggered instinctive fear responses in every species present. "First Advocate Theris," she said softly, "you assume optimization for military purposes. Perhaps instead, we optimize for efficiency in all things. Is that not the hallmark of an advanced civilization?" But the mask had slipped. The Vexori representatives' bioelectric sensors were screaming warnings. The human's electromagnetic signature had shifted, revealing patterns consistent with apex predator species in pre-strike mode. The session ended with formal pleasantries, but the atmosphere had changed fundamentally. In secure communication channels, frantic messages flew between allied species. Pattern analysis of human behavior over the past decades suddenly took on new meaning. Their rapid technological advancement, their uncanny ability to appear wherever resources were discovered, their network of cultural exchange stations that just happened to be positioned at strategic choke points, it all made terrible sense. That night, in the human diplomatic quarters, Maya received a priority message from Earth. The time for subtlety was ending. Phase 2 would begin soon. And when it did, the galaxy would understand that human diplomacy had never been about peace. It had been about positioning. The velvet glove of diplomacy was about to come off, revealing the iron fist beneath. And as Maya looked out at the starfield beyond her window, she allowed herself a predator smile. The hunt was about to begin. When diplomacy drops, the emergency session of the Celestial Congress convened with unprecedented speed. 3 standard days had passed since Maya's confrontation with First Advocate Theris, and in that time, the Galactic intelligence community had worked feverishly to piece together the truth about humanity. What they discovered sent shockwaves through every capital world. The Dravix Empire, never one for diplomatic niceties, wasted no time with preliminaries. Their military commander, General Zarkin, stood before the assembly, his scaled hide rippling with barely contained aggression. Behind him, holographic displays showed human fleet movements over the past decade. "The evidence is irrefutable," Zarkin declared, his voice resonating through the chamber. Human merchant vessels consistently carry military-grade power signatures. Their exploration ships maintain combat formations. Their civilian colonies are built to military specifications. He turned to face Maya directly. "The Dravix Empire demands immediate cessation of human expansion and the withdrawal of all human forces from disputed territories." Maya stood slowly, her movements carrying none of the diplomatic hesitation expected in such moments. The transformation was subtle but unmistakable. The pleasant ambassador was gone, replaced by something that triggered ancestral fears in every species present. "General Zarkin," she began, her voice calm but carrying an undertone that made several species' threat displays activate involuntarily. "The Dravix Empire demands." "How interesting." She pressed a control on her wrist unit. The chamber's holographic systems suddenly displayed something that made the blood of every military officer present run cold. It was a real-time tactical map of the entire galaxy, showing not just known human positions, but thousands of previously undetected human assets. Stealth fleets positioned near every major homeworld, hidden bases in supposedly empty systems, supply caches that could support extended military campaigns. For 50 years, Maya continued, humanity has watched you all play at civilization. We've studied your strengths, mapped your weaknesses, and positioned ourselves accordingly. Every trade agreement was a strategic deployment. Every cultural exchange was intelligence gathering. Every diplomatic mission was reconnaissance. The Vexori ambassador's bioelectric field was pulsing in panic. This is impossible. Our sensors would have detected. Your sensors detect what we allow them to detect. Maya interrupted. Human stealth technology surpassed your detection capabilities before we even made first contact. The chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates from 100 species shouted accusations and demands. Some called for immediate military action, others for negotiation. Through it all, Maya stood perfectly still, an apex predator watching prey panic. When the chaos subsided slightly, Maya spoke again. You all made a fundamental error. You thought humans were like you, social animals playing at civilization. But we're not. We're persistence predators who learn to wear the mask of diplomacy. Everything about us, our endurance, our pattern recognition, our pack tactics, evolved to make us the ultimate hunters. And when we looked at the stars, we saw not a community to join, but a hunting ground to master. First Advocate Theris, his neural patterns fluctuating wildly, managed to speak. But why reveal this now? Why abandon the pretense? Maya's smile was terrible in its genuineness, because the positioning phase is complete, and because we want you to understand what happens next is not aggression, it's nature. At that moment, alarms began sounding throughout the chamber. Emergency transmissions flooded in from across the galaxy. Human ships were dropping their stealth fields, revealing armadas that dwarfed the combined fleets of the major powers. But they weren't attacking. They were simply present, watching, waiting. For the record, Maya continued, her voice cutting through the panic. Humanity still offers peace, but it's peace on our terms. The galaxy will be organized according to human design, with humanity at its apex. Resist, and you'll discover why we're the only sapient predator species to achieve spaceflight. The Korathi delegation huddled together, their neural patterns synchronized in desperate calculation. Theris stepped forward, his form trembling. And if we refuse? If we fight? Maya's response was to display another hologram. This one showed the results of human military simulations. Every major civilization defeated within standard months, their populations subjugated or eliminated with ruthless efficiency. We don't want to fight, Maya said softly. Predators prefer easy prey. But make no mistake, we will win. Your military doctrines are based on display, deterrence, and defense. Ours are based on pursuit, persistence, and the kill. You evolved to cooperate. We evolved to dominate. The session dissolved into chaos, but the outcome was inevitable. Species after species formally acknowledged human supremacy, not because they were convinced by argument, but because they recognized the truth. They were prey in the presence of predators. As the last delegation submitted, Maya made one final announcement. The human protectorate begins today. Your species will be protected, your cultures preserved, your economies integrated. Resistance will be met with regrettable but necessary force. In the following weeks, the galaxy learned what human rule meant. It wasn't brutal oppression. Predators don't waste energy on unnecessary violence. Instead, it was systematic reorganization, with every species finding its place in a hierarchy designed by and for human benefit. Trade flowed more efficiently than ever before. Conflicts ended as human arbitrators imposed solutions, and crime virtually disappeared under human surveillance. But beneath the efficiency, every species felt it. The constant awareness of being watched, evaluated, controlled. They weren't citizens of a galactic community anymore. They were managed wildlife in a preserve run by the galaxy's apex predators. In her private quarters aboard the flagship HMS Consequence, Maya Jong removed her diplomatic sash for the last time. The masquerade was over. Humanity had revealed its true nature, and the galaxy would never be the same. She looked out at the stars, not with the wonder of an explorer or the curiosity of a diplomat, but with the satisfaction of a successful hunter surveying its territory. The greatest deception in galactic history was complete. Humanity had won before anyone even knew there was a game. And across 1,000 worlds, 1 billion species learned the truth. Humans had never been pretending to be diplomats. They had been predators pretending to be prey, until the trap was perfectly set. The hunt was over. The feeding would begin.